What if the economy tanks tomorrow? A full-blown recession, mass layoffs, market crashes, and people shoving fistfuls of cash into their mattresses like it's 1929. But here's the real question. Which U.S. states will crumble first? Because while America likes to pretend we're all in this together, some of us are clinging to this metaphorical ship by our fingernails. Stick around, because you need to know if your state makes the list. And trust me, some of these might surprise you. Let's be honest, when we think of Nevada, we think of one thing: Las Vegas, the land of flashing lights, questionable decisions, and enough Elvis impersonators to fill a stadium. But what happens when the party stops? Nevada's economy is built on tourism, entertainment, and hospitality. And when people tighten their wallets, Vegas feels the pinch first. It's like that friend who throws lavish parties when they're flush with cash, but forgets to pay their rent. Add to that one of the nation's highest unemployment rates, and Nevada is about as stable as a house of cards in a wind tunnel. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Mississippi consistently ranks near the bottom in terms of economic well-being. It has one of the lowest median incomes in the country, a healthcare system that's more fragile than a spider web, and a poverty rate that's just plain disheartening. A recession wouldn't just be a bump in the road for Mississippi, it would be like driving headfirst into a ditch. And the worst part? The state's limited resources make climbing out of that ditch feel nearly impossible. It's like trying to win a game of Monopoly when you start with Boardwalk and Park Place already mortgaged. Louisiana, you've got to admire their spirit. They know how to party, they make a mean gumbo, and they rebuild after every hurricane. But economically speaking, Louisiana is like a gambler who keeps putting all their money on red, even though black has come up 5 times in a row. First, they're heavily reliant on oil prices, which are about as predictable as a toddler on a sugar rush. And when the oil industry sneezes, Louisiana catches a cold. Second, let's not forget about Mother Nature's tendency to use Louisiana as a punching bag. Hurricanes, floods, you name it, they've weathered it. But each disaster takes a bite out of the state's already strained resources. It's a recipe for disaster, and not the delicious kind. West Virginia, the mountain state, known for its beautiful scenery and, well, that's about it these days. Look, I get it, coal mining is in their blood. It's been the backbone of their economy for generations. But here's the thing. Clinging to coal in the 21st century is like clinging to a rotary phone. It's nostalgic, sure, but not exactly practical. West Virginia desperately needs to diversify its economy, but with an aging population and a severe lack of investment in new industries, it's stuck in a rut. It's like trying to teach your grandpa to use TikTok. It's not going to be pretty. Alaska, the last frontier. It's vast, it's beautiful, and it's also incredibly isolated. Which is fine when things are good, but a real problem when the economy takes a nosedive. See, Alaska's economy is basically held hostage by oil revenue. When oil prices are high, Alaska's raking it in. But when prices plummet, Alaska's left out in the cold, literally. And because of its remoteness, diversifying its economy is like trying to hail a cab in the middle of the Alaskan wilderness. It's not impossible, but you're probably going to be waiting a while. New Mexico, the land of enchantment. It's got stunning landscapes, vibrant culture, and a whole lot of economic inequality. See, New Mexico relies heavily on government jobs and federal funding. And while that might sound stable, it's actually a house of cards waiting to collapse. Because when the federal government starts tightening its belt during a recession, New Mexico's going to feel the squeeze. And without a robust private sector to pick up the slack, well, let's just say the enchantment might wear off pretty quickly. Kentucky, famous for bourbon horses and an economy overly reliant on manufacturing. Now, I love a good bourbon as much as the next person, but banking your state's future on an industry that's notoriously vulnerable to recessions is like betting on a horse that's already tripped over its own hooves. Add to that sluggish wage growth and a heaping helping of debt, and Kentucky's looking at a recipe for economic heartburn. It's enough to make you want to drown your sorrows in, well, you know, Hawaii, paradise lost. Ah, Hawaii, the land of beaches, surfing, and an economy almost entirely dependent on tourism. Now, don't get me wrong, tourism is great when people can afford to travel. But during a recession, Hawaii's economy is like a sandcastle in high tide. People stop coming, jobs dry up, but the cost of living? Oh, that stays higher than a kite in a hurricane. It's a recipe for disaster, and the only Mai Tais being served are the ones people are making at home to forget their troubles. Illinois, drowning in debt. Illinois, the land of Lincoln, and a whole lot of debt. Seriously, we're talking billions upon billions of dollars in debt. They're like that friend who keeps borrowing money but never seems to learn their lesson. Even before a recession hits, Illinois is struggling to keep its head above water. They're constantly facing budget shortfalls, And their pension crisis is scarier than a Stephen King novel. Add an economic downturn to the mix, and Illinois could be looking at a financial meltdown of epic proportions. California, the Golden State's fall from grace. California, the Golden State, home to Hollywood, Silicon Valley, and an economy that's more volatile than a teenager's emotions. Look, California's got a lot going for it, but it's also got a massive economy that's heavily reliant on tech and real estate, and when those industries catch a cold, California gets pneumonia, startups go belly up, layoffs skyrocket, and suddenly, even those million-dollar San Francisco studio apartments start to look a little less appealing. Will your state survive the next recession? So, there you have it. The 10 states most likely to collapse first in a U.S. recession. If you live in one of them, it's not panic time, but it might be prep time, because while we can't predict the future, we can certainly prepare for it. Want to protect yourself from the next crash? Start by getting informed. Subscribe now for more economic breakdowns, financial tips, and survival strategies for uncertain times. And hey, is your state on the list? Let us know in the comments. Maybe we'll do a follow-up video on how to survive a recession, even if your state is about to go the way of the dodo.